Hopefully, you guys are doing well. So, we are we have made it yet again to another weekend, and this is also the first weekend in December. A few more weekends and 2022's over. That's crazy to think about, honestly. This year's gone by so fast. It's been a very interesting year for a lot of us, I'm sure. It's been a very interesting year for me. I started this channel back in March. It's already been almost 9 months, which is insane. But I'm grateful for the progress and eager to I'm eager to see what lies ahead for this channel next year in particular. That being said, we know the customary thing with the weekend here. We do our weekend forecast, so let's go ahead and jump right into that then, shall we? So, quick overview of the country right now. No severe thunderstorms forecast for the entire weekend. Nice little break given the crazy severe weather and tornado outbreak that we had this Tuesday. And while there isn't severe weather in the short term to really be concerned with as of right now, I do show some concern for a point with this area right here towards the Tennessee Valley here and over towards parts of the southeast, just east of the Ozarks. It's going to be a lot of rain developing over these regions over the next few days, especially after the weekend. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But we also have to keep our eye on the fire weather here. We do have a critical area right here. So if you're doing any sort of burning, particularly if you have leaf piles or any sort of tree debris or anything like that, do so with extreme caution or just try to hold off on it if you can. The area of concern that I'm regarding to is this little red kidney bean looking spot over through west central Kansas and into eastern Colorado. Although the elevated area is not one that should be taken lightly, so the panhandles of Oklahoma and Texas should be you should be monitoring your burning as well. The northeastern corner of New Mexico too, just for safe measure. Just if you can probably put off burning for that day, it probably would be most ideal. For the rest of the day, be most ideal. If you go to Saturday, there's no critical area or elevated area either, so probably would be safer to do it through Saturday and maybe Sunday as well, but hopefully you didn't do so today. That being said, no storm reports or anything going on today. It's been relatively quiet. A couple of thunderstorms are possible along this part of the mid-Atlantic, but beyond that, not much to really be concerned with. So we go through our excessive rainfall outlook. Through these next 3 days, there's not a whole lot going on there. So day one is extremely quiet, flash flood guidance, and excessive rainfall under 5% for a lot of areas. But we will start to see a plume of moisture begin to develop around this region here, just to the north and east of the Baja Peninsula. So almost like a monsoonal type flow event will begin to occur, and we'll start to see a little bit of an uptick in rainfall around the desert southwest, and this will almost be like a conveyor belt that works its way to the east here. And over towards the Appalachian Mountains, towards the southeast, we could have an increased threat of flash flooding to start next week. But as of right now, the main excessive rainfall areas of concern are going to be over towards the west as of right now. We go to day 3. Probability of rainfall exceeding flash flood guidance is less than 5%. But I'll go ahead and show you real quick on day 4. That's when things start to get interesting. We already have a day 4 slight risk, so there's a lot of confidence that there's going to be potentially significant rainfall around northern Alabama, northern Mississippi, and parts of southern Tennessee. Keep in mind, this area had a boatload of rain to go along with that severe weather outbreak on Tuesday. So this doesn't surprise me in the slightest. If you have multiple days of rainfall over an area that just had severe weather, flood threats typically going to go up, mainly because the ground can only hold so much moisture in. Even if we can't see that the ground is visibly wet, it takes a few days for the ground to dry off, especially during this time of year. That being said, let's go ahead and review everything for the weekend forecast here. Pivotal weather has been giving me a little bit of trouble today, so we'll have to wait with bated breath here. Hopefully, it complies here, but it looks like so far it has. So we'll start out with the temperatures here. We're starting to come out of that little cold snap that was occurring after that front had passed through. The northern states this weekend are going to be particularly cooler, but beyond that, if you're, let's say, you're south of the Appalachians, south of the Ozarks, this cold air is not going to reach you. You're going to see a small surge from there, but then you're going to see a ridge begin to develop towards the end of the weekend. And anywhere in the south could be dealing with some 60 and even 70-degree temperatures, so it's going to be pretty nice for you guys towards the southern half of the country. The northern half is going to be a little bit cooler, especially towards the northern plains. Northeast will start to get in on that colder action here. Could be some snow over there for some of you guys. But beyond that, there's not really a lot going on here. We'll watch this map roll all the way through into Monday morning, and you can see a little bit of a warm nose kind of developing here. A little bit faster. This is about 8 o'clock Eastern time. Even when we start to get towards 7 Central here, it looks like even Arkansas and Missouri are starting to warm back up just a little bit. We're starting to get less and less of those lows in the mid to upper 30s. We're starting to get a few more 40s involved there. So let's go ahead and take a look at what our precip may look like throughout the weekend. So reflectivity map here. Okay, so we're waiting on this to load a little bit. Move this forward. And here's that little conveyor belt of moisture starting to develop right here. And this will continue on and off throughout the weekend. This little area of moisture is going to hang around until the early afternoon hours, possibly around the southeast. Quickly moves out. So Saturday night will be pretty good around the eastern half of the country. But lo and behold, when we look over towards the desert southwest, heading into the early hours of Sunday, here's our next little bit of moisture coming in. Not heavy rain, but a little bit more rainfall going over the same area, just padding those totals. Then when our next shortwave comes in on Monday, which will be this low pressure right here, this will become an additional, this will bring in additional rainfall over the same exact areas all throughout Monday, which could turn into a big problem in the week to come. A little bit of snow towards the northwest here, but beyond that, really not a lot going on there. You have this little short wave that comes through and then just north of the border, brings a little bit of snow in. You can kind of see that little these little snow tendrils coming in from the UP of Michigan. We may get some scattered accumulations throughout the northern tier of the Great Plains and maybe parts of the Northeast as well. But the biggest snow totals, of course, are going to be over towards the mountains in the Northwest. But beyond that, really not a lot to be concerned with here. Let's go ahead and look at total precipitation. Let's see how much our rainfall totals could be over the weekend. I'm not expecting super high numbers from this, to be honest. I'm just hoping that pivotal weather decides to work. So far, it seems like we're going to be all right here. Just have this start rolling forward a little bit. You can start seeing these little scattered areas where we're getting about a quarter inch of rainfall, then increasing to half an inch. Once we get towards the end of this here, it looks like we could get maybe up to about half an inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch of rainfall around the Tennessee Valley here. Parts of northern Mississippi. Come on, Ty, get that out. But mainly it's looking like a lot. The average bit of expected rainfall around this region is about half an inch, a couple inches. Not a couple inches, but a couple places could be looking at a 3/4 inch amount of rainfall, possibly. There is a little corridor right here where we could be expecting about 3/4 right here up towards Kentucky here. But beyond that, again, not much going on here. Look at the snow. We'll look at the snow potential, which is always fun to look at. We'll compare the models with this. We'll just gotta wait for this one to load. But here's what the Euro is looking like. Of course, when we get towards the Sierra Nevada, this is where we're gonna get our biggest totals right now. Again, I've said it before in previous videos, great news for these guys. Last few years, they've had it a little bit rough with snowfall, so to see this is a welcome sign for them, especially towards their ski resorts. But the further out from the mountains that we start to get, the snowfall kind of tapers off. This is over towards the Euro. We're looking at about maybe a lot of areas seeing 3 to 5 inches, a couple areas seeing a little less. Some areas seeing 6 inches too. But once we get over towards this area here, towards the northeast and the northern plains, snowfall really tapers off. We're looking at a lot of areas just seeing 1, some places 2 inches. Some people seeing trace amounts of snow, even into the interior northeast. So it looks like a pretty quiet weekend for them based off the Euro. And the same really can be said on all of these models. This is the Canadian model, showing a pretty similar look. GFS isn't that much different. Not even that much more aggressive, if at all. Because normally when we look at the GFS, it likes to do a little bit of a colder run than all the others, or a little bit more of a wet run when it comes to snow. There is a little bit of a discrepancy over here towards the interior northeast, but for the most part, it's pretty much the same. Trace maybe 2 inches in some isolated spots, but beyond that, nothing to really be concerned with here. The NAM's showing actually a little less snow, which is to be expected with these convection models. Shows a little bit, usually shows snow events like this being a little bit warmer typically. But it's usually more precise too, because we don't have to factor in little discrepancies in the long range. And then this is the National Weather Service blend of models, and it's pretty much a happy medium between all of the models that we see here. Again, no real surprises. Over towards Sierra Nevada region is where we're going to see the most snow, followed by this section here in the northwest where we're looking at Montana, Idaho, Wyoming, and Oregon and Washington. Beyond that, though, seeing a lot of areas, it's seeing trace to 1 inch around Minnesota, Wisconsin, UP and Michigan. Some of you guys might see about 3 to 6 inches possibly. But once we get towards the Great Lakes, relatively light event. Some places may see up to about 2 inches of snow by the end of the weekend. But other than that, it's going to be a pretty docile event. But that pretty much sums up the weather for this weekend. If anything significant happens with that, of course, I'll let you know. I will have a video up for that. But that's pretty much the end of this video here. If you liked what I did here, definitely drop me a like. I appreciate that, of course. Appreciate the support that I've been getting throughout the course of the year on this channel. Let's keep it going all the way till the end. Really excited for what could be in store for the channel in 2023. Have a lot of interesting content coming up for you guys, and I hope you're ready to go along for the ride with me on that one. But enough rambling from me. This has been Metalhead Weatherman. I'll see you guys in the next video. You have a good night.